Car Guys, and here's your host, the one and only Rick and Roy.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Chase Car Guys. We have a very special guest among us tonight. I'm glad to have him. He's become a very good friend of mine over the last 2 minutes. No, actually, it's been quite a while. We know a lot of people in common, and it's going to be fun to talk to him. Roy, tell him what we're going to talk about tonight in the show.
Well, we've got a customer in the house today, and so we're going to talk about customer service. We're going to talk about the whole customer experience as far as what goes on in the car business. The good, the bad, and the ugly, because we got to look at all three, because we're always, every car dealership, anybody that sells, selling cars always wants to get better. So anyway, we're going to discuss some topics and have some fun with it.
Yeah, and absolutely, because I think a lot of times people have an issue, and some of the stories I'll talk about during the show is how you take an angry customer and make him a dedicated customer to you, and that's how you handle it. But before we go there, we want to introduce our guest tonight.
Our special guest.
Go ahead, Gene. Introduce yourself.
I'm Gene Tibon, Chief Instructor and owner of Tibon's Goju Fighting Arts Karate Studios. We've got 4 schools here locally. The main one is on Yosemite at 923. We've got Gym Stars, Stockton Gym Stars on Hammer Lane, Hires Goju in Lodi, and we have Modesto Gym Stars in Modesto. So in doing that, we have a lot of families, many thousands over the last 36 years that we've been located.
And my kids were part of your family many years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we've had so many. It's funny now because I get kids that come in now that say, "Sensei, do you recognize me?" I says, "Well, when you took from me, did you have a beard?" "Well, no, I was only 9 years old." And I says, "This is my child, and they bring their kids over to us too. So we're going through almost 2 and 3 generations right now.
So you must treat your customers right too.
Oh, that's
if you keep coming back, or they're afraid not to bring them in. I don't know what it is.
Well, we try to make an experience out of it. The bottom line is we want to teach more than just karate. We want to teach life skill development too.
Right.
How does all the push-ups and the hard work actually turn into something that you can turn into something that you apply to your home, your school, your work, and how you get along with people?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a whole facet of things. Roy, are you going to lead us off with anything, or do you want me to just go into? I mean, I know you're very intelligent and you've got a lot of notes. I see.
Well, no, I just want to say, since he he has his own business, he's going to understand a lot about the questions that we ask him regarding customer service. The extra things that you do. Because every business has its competition.
Yes.
And give us an idea of maybe a few things that you implement, versus maybe some things, some programs that maybe other businesses like yourselves, what kind of sets you maybe a little bit apart from those other businesses?
Well, you got to think about that. When I first opened up my karate school 36 years ago, there was only 3 schools around.
Wow.
Now within a 25-minute driving radius, we've got 135 schools of different kinds of different martial arts.
Right.
So the martial arts scene has changed quite a bit. A lot of it is because of the UFC and MMA on television, because of so much visual and sponsorship behind it. But what we've done is we tried to stay with what the ground roots of traditional karate. Karate means empty hand, and so it's not about having weapons in your hand. You become a weapon. You use your fingers.
That's a novelty here in Stockton, because most of our stuff is with weapons. So
That's right.
Unfortunately, but
exactly. And so what we've tried to do is we've tried not only to make an impact on the kids, because as we learn, and you watch a lot of old movies and you see something about martial arts, you'll see these old masters with these young kids. And for years they're training, and pretty soon you see these incredible martial artists that are in their late teens and adults. And so we've done pretty much the same thing.
Right.
We've developed these young kids from very young age, and we've taught them how to apply this to their life. And majority of all of our black belts currently now are straight A students or have graduated from high school. 95% of them have received university or college degrees. And so in teaching them that knowledge is power, but also how to apply this so that they can expand this to their future jobs or the things that they want to do in life. But with all that we've done, and we've tried to make it very different from everybody else's, we didn't want to just to copy what other people do. My ranking is from Japan, and I, was tested on the Japan Karate Federation with Gojo Uchiagikai, and that's the world body for karate. That even the WKF, or the World Karate Federation, under the International Olympic Committee. So we're certified and ranked through the highest level of Japanese karate in the world. And so by that, my masters, my head instructors, they made me the president of the United States. I was the vice president, or senior vice president for the United States Karate Federation, the Olympic program, for 16 years. So, and having those different places and those different things, I not only was on the technical committee, but I was involved in help structuring traditional karate in the United States through black belt testing. And we would test sometimes 100, 150 black belts from all over the country, because in what we were doing with them is trying to set an established curriculum so they would bring back to their schools, and we would do some kind of you might say an impact on trying to help them bring quality back to their dojos, because a lot of instructors out there, unfortunately, they really aren't as good as they think they are.
And I would imagine, and stop me if I'm wrong, a lot of, and we're not talking about anybody in particular, or I'm just throwing a general question out. A lot of the guys are in for the money and not so much the quality, I guess, is what I'm trying to put in words there.
Well, the sad thing about it is that the poor customer out there, they really don't know. They walk into a business and they see a business and they see someone wearing a black belt. They think, okay, they know because they're wearing a black belt.
Right.
I've had many parents and people come into me and say, hey, can you get my kid out of this school? I don't understand. He goes, well, they're tied to a contract. They won't let us go unless we pay a termination fee, and we got to come up with $1,000, $2,000.
Wow.
See, we don't have contracts.
Right.
I tell my people, if I can't hold you with my knowledge, I don't deserve you.
Right.
Other places want to hold you the contracts because sometimes you might want to leave, or you not like what's going on, and you can't.
Right.
And so with us,
So you're like month to month then?
We're month to month.
Right.
Yeah, we've always been that way.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I know from our standpoint in our business, we either got to earn your business or not. And let's face it, there's probably more car dealerships than karate guys around. And one of the ways to keep them is make them a customer and a friend like you've become. And you have that personal touch with people. We're not just a machine there to sell cars, and once you leave, say, well, maybe we'll see you again. We want you to come back, tell your friends. I always tell this quick story. I've never had somebody pull up in front of my house and tell me, I want you to come out and see this piece of crap that I bought from another dealership.
Right.
Everybody is happy when they leave because they're happy with the new car. But to keep them happy, you have to do certain things. And sometimes what's made Chase, since I've been there, 1983, I left for a while. But anyhow, I've been there over 30 years total time. And what's made them who they are today is they have 75 to 80% repeat and referral customers. And how they did that was through the service department. Obviously, you're going to bring your car back and do things. And, we do things that typically, in my opinion, are unheard of because we go over and above what we have to do legally, right?
Right.
And people get caught up in this legal thing, and we don't have to do this for you and this and that. But the money in advertising is crazy. So do we just bash the papers and the TVs and all this stuff about how great we are, or we actually do it?
Right.
And so I know both Johns that run our store look at, hey, it may cost me $500. I don't have to pay this $500, but that's like probably $10,000 worth of advertising that you get an instant gratification from.
Absolutely.
So I think sometimes I've been there, so there's 1,000 stories, and I don't want to be talking all night long about that, but it's interesting to see how many people that you meet and take care of that become your friends, and when they come in to get their oil change, they come by, say hello, have a cup of coffee with us, whatever it is, and they're not there to buy anything. They're just, hey, you're here, good to see you, blah blah blah, and it's a nurturing type of a feeling, and it sounds like that's how you operate with your business.
Absolutely. And and I think that's a lot of what really it drives me towards Chase Chevrolet.
Right.
Just for the fact that I bought my last Tahoe there, brand new one.
Right.
And it was cool because I knew one of the service writers at the time. It was Edgar Suarez, who was
Oh
working
yeah,
there at the
Edgar.
time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was one of my old brown belts.
Oh,
And so-
really?
yeah.
Okay.
And so in talking with him, he told me, there's opportunities here with some, some great vehicles that just came in. So we did, and I ended up buying one. Well, that was the 2007 Tahoe, the one that we just traded
Trading
in.
in. Right.
And so it was funny because my wife and I, we, how it is, you want to buy a new car, you go, oh man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's it going to cost, this and that, and so we started looking through the newspapers and seeing what kind of deals are out there because my daughter-in-law and my son, Danielle and Adam, just bought 2 cars the same day over there from Chase Chevrolet.
I'll be darned.
They bought a Traverse and an Equinox. And,
Oh, okay.
And so
And give them a plug. What's their last name?
Tibon.
Oh,
And that's how you say it properly.
yeah. Unlike
T-bone.
you,
T-bone.
T-bone.
It's not T-bone, okay, Roy?
T-bone. Yeah. He will T-bone you after the show.
But anyway, I really liked her Traverse, and we had a lot of miles on our Tahoe. It was starting to go, and so I said, you know what? Let's see what kind of prices are out there. And
Right.
so we had a lot of different prices in different locations.
Right.
But I wanted to go to Chase Chevrolet first because that's where I bought my last vehicle.
Sure.
And we've always have service there and everything else. So I walk in, and of course I get a call first because we were asking for prices and
Right.
quotes.
Right.
So it was kind of cool that I got a call from Patrick Crispy.
Yeah.
And he calls me.
Crispy.
and he goes-
Crispy, I love
That's-
that. We know
he
nicknames.
says Crispy. And we were just ready to go out to go look at the vehicles, and he called, and I said, you know what, it's funny, you just called me right now, and we're ready to go outside. He goes, well, come on over and take a look at what we got. And I said, I'll be there in half an hour.
Oh, cool.
So we drive up, and of course we have a couple people come walking towards us if we need any help and
Yeah.
everything. And I was asking for Patrick. So Patrick comes out, and I said, okay, Patrick, I'm a very upfront, blunt guy. Impress me. I says, because look at all these different,
Yeah.
cars we're looking at. I says, give me something that can give me some competition. And I says, and I'm done. We're here.
Yeah.
And I said, so impress me. I said, you got to overwhelm me. He goes, let me overwhelm you. And we sat down, and he went through, what are you looking for? And I said, well, I just, something with low mileage, and I need something kind of an SUV type of thing because I have this Tahoe, and we haul a lot of equipment to tournaments and things that we do. And so he says, well, let's take a look. We got different vehicles here, and we took around a look, and I saw a couple vehicles. And I said, oh, okay. And I kept looking towards the new Traverses over there. And so we got on the little cart, and he drove us around, and he showed us this one white one. It was really nice. We took it for a ride, and I'm going, man, I really like this. And I look at my wife. I said, what do you think? She goes, I like this too. I said, you ready to hammer it already down? I mean, he didn't have to even say anything. Just let him drive it.
Right.
And so came back, and he says, well, I said, there's another one over here. Can we take a look at this one? He goes, let me go get the key, and I'll be right back. So I'm walking around, and I see the silver one in the back against the back gate, a whole bunch of different ones. And he came back, and I said, hey, I want to try that one over there. And he says, man, those ones just came in like last night. Those weren't there yesterday. There was a bunch of trucks there yesterday. I said, well, get that one. I'm going to try that one. So we came back and brought it out, and we took it for a ride, and we got to the corner light, as you drive down.
Holman and
Holman, like you're going towards March Lane.
Yeah, something
We didn't
star.
even- just over there by the high school.
Yeah.
That's it. My wife says, this is the one.
Yeah.
It was it. That was it.
So
was it.
he didn't sell you, but your wife sold you.
My wife said, this is the one. This is
She
beautiful.
fell in love with
this
it.
is beautiful, yeah. And he was very helpful in
Yeah.
all the questions. He went through everything.
Yeah.
And then I think it's Marcus Hunter.
Marcus, yes, he works
Marcus,
with
you know,
Marcus.
Marcus came and got involved with us the next time because Patrick just moved into a new house.
Oh,
here in
okay.
Stockton.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
we were
yeah.
talking all that kind
Right.
of stuff. And so we told Patrick we'll come back, and talk with Marcus. Marcus came out and ran us through all the bells and whistles on all the new stuff. Because from the 2019 to the 2007 I had,
Yeah.
a lot of
Oh,
new
a
stuff.
lot of
Yeah, I have a
stuff.
17, and it's all new to
It's
me.
all new
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And he went through and was very detailed with us and very patient. And I says, just act like you're talking to your grandmother and your grandmother, because that's basically what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking to. And he was so personable and so patient. I would have thought, man, he's he must be used to working with a lot of people.
Right.
But that did it for us. I mean, between Patrick and Marcus and you.
Oh,
You came through with with a great finance. I mean, 3.84. My personal bank and my credit union couldn't even beat that.
yeah.
And
Well,
so I mean, it was incredible.
when you have good credit like you do, so
Well,
that means a lot, and people don't understand that either. But that's for another show.
Yeah, but it really helps, that you went above and beyond to help us, and then the extended warranty and all that kind of just tied it all together, and it makes it feel good. Like if something happens to that car, it's ready to be prepared, taken care of.
I sometimes you reflect the extended warranty to life insurance. You don't need it till you need it, right?
Yeah.
And so but the cost of things are so astronomical. It's crazy.
Especially with all the computerization. on these
yeah.
things
It's all
nowadays.
electronics.
A lot of technical stuff on the new ones.
He knows all about it. This guy.
Yeah,
here.
very technical.
Yeah,
Very technical. One of the things that you said, because you are an independent businessman, a successful independent businessman, is you talked about this is really a business about people.
Right.
We're in the people business, man.
Right.
We sell cars. You provide services for your but we're really in the people business. And what's interesting is that you've been doing this for the last, how many years have you been doing your
40 years. You just said.
40 years.
Pay attention.
Yeah,
Okay.
40 plus years.
Yeah, exactly.
Been doing it since I was 7.
We've been selling cars since
1944 under the helm of Chase
1944.
Chevrolet.
Chase Chevrolet, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the thing is that the longer that you're able to stay in business.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you remember your first year, right?
Oh, yeah.
You remember how many
8 years. 8 years I was in my garage.
Yeah. Oh, you were in your garage for 8 years. Okay.
With 65 students, my neighbors got upset. They said, "Hey, we can't even find a parking spot."
Right.
So I had to
And
get
you
a
had
building,
65
and we were
students.
running them.
Wow.
We were running them over to Yosemite or Legion Park and
Right.
training them over there because I had kids in front, adults on the sidewalk, and the ground in the backyard. It killed my lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. In working with people and developing a good product, you got to remember, you walk into my school,
Right.
you walk in with nothing in your hands,
Right.
and after a class, you leave with nothing in your hands.
Right.
I got to teach you information that
Right.
is so technical and so valuable that a person knows that what they're investing into,
Right.
they really respect and they like.
Right.
So for us to be in business with no contract for 36 years
Right.
at that location, and all of our other schools have been in place, like Gym Stars, 20 years.
Right.
Hires Go Drew, 23 years.
Right.
14 years in Modesto. All these programs have gone with no contract, but quality.
Right.
And they come in with nothing, they leave with nothing, but it's all in their head, and they respect that. It's the same thing with what you guys do. You guys have a product, but the piece of the customer service is what made it even that much more better of a sale for us, because I made a new friend, and
Yeah.
I consider you one too.
Right.
You won't after the show, but
You have to get to know me a little better now.
But it really is nice
Yeah.
to go in there, and even Patrick calls me up a couple
Yeah.
days after.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he calls just following, how you doing? How's everything going? And just to get that follow up,
Right.
that piece,
that
is really
not
nice.
thank you and see you in 3 or 4
You always
years.
hear that word, and I think it's one that's really important. It's called culture.
Yes.
It's like it takes a while. You
Yeah.
got to be in business
Oh,
a
yeah.
while
Oh, yeah.
to develop a culture,
Yes.
because that's when all of your all of your teachers and
Yes.
everybody, instructors and all that, they all understand exactly what you're trying to do. They understand the program, and so it works seamless. As you have new people come in, you have a Patrick involved, you have a Marcus involved, you have a service writer that actually brought the business to Chase Chevrolet because of how he handled, you.
Me at the very
And I'm
beginning, yeah.
sure that in your business it happens the same way, because if you can develop your business around people, word of mouth.
Yes.
Listen.
Best advertising you can have.
You're gonna
Yeah,
go.
that's
You're
it.
gonna go into this field.
Oh, yeah.
You need to go see this guy.
That's it.
You know.
I've got the high schools are involved.
Okay.
We do PE alternatives, so that they come to us, and they don't do their PE classes. They do their PE classes through me.
Oh, really?
We work with St. Mary's.
Right.
We work with Lincoln High School in their export program. We work with a lot of the different high schools. We have most all of the charter schools in the area now too.
Wow.
They got to do backgrounds on you. You got to do
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole thing, because of how things are nowadays.
Right.
Unfortunately,
And
yes.
we've qualified and passed through all of them. So we have a lot of those different programs that support us because not only of our background, but what we produce as a product.
Right.
And those parents have to renew those those contracts to, for them to release purchase orders to us.
Right.
And again, it's not a contract. It's a month to month still.
Right.
But, so they got to be happy with us each month.
Right.
And we've
So would they come to your facility then, like so many hours a week to fulfill all of their PE requirements? Is
Yes.
that kind of what they do?
they got to do 60 hours in that particular grading period.
Oh, I
And
see.
so it's usually like 3 days a week,
Right.
an hour and a half, 2-hour classes.
And then can they work the schedule around, or do you have like a set time? This is
We
when
have different classes
Right.
for different things. We
Okay.
have not only the traditional self-defense piece, but we also have a competition classes that are on weekends for those who want to go to Pan American Championships, World Championships. I've got one who's an Olympic hopeful. We've put 60 athletes on Team USA, and that's
Wow.
under the Olympic program. We've got over 400 national champions that we've developed out of
Wow.
our program.
That's a feather in your
That's
cap, my
more
friend.
than all the schools combined. And so, we take a lot of pride in our quality, and that's why I ended up on the technical committee for the Olympic program for karate, as well as their vice president, is because we were able to put that many athletes on the national team that they go, okay, we got to have this
Who's
guy.
this guy?
we
Yeah.
gotta have this
We
guy
gotta
on our
meet
technical
him.
committee. And so it really became just an incredible experience, but the idea too of that we're qualified through all these different programs,
Right.
like
That's a
charter
huge,
schools
yeah.
and high schools, and they trust us with their athletes to
Right.
give them what they need
Yes.
to pass for their high school.
Yeah,
diploma.
to develop that kind of trust, especially
Oh, yeah.
when you're dealing with the school districts.
Exactly.
I mean, you got to jump through every single
got
hoop, and
to.
you better be as clean as a whistle, you know.
Your background.
You
your
almost
thing.
can be a politician now. I think you can run.
I retired from PG&E for 37 years.
Really?
I've been retired since 2010.
Wow.
And I was in charge of the fraud and theft department, and that was for the marijuana grow operations and everybody who was tying into
Oh,
our
I see.
systems
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff. And learning and working in that kind of atmosphere, you have a strong teamwork atmosphere too. So a lot of those management skills that I learned from them, I brought into my business.
Right,
And
your
so
business.
that really helped me teach my instructors how to be, good instructors, like train the trainer. And so we have a leadership program that we develop our kids how to become future instructors. Eventually, we give them all their first jobs. That's the
Right.
goal.
Yeah.
Because kids can't find jobs nowadays,
Right.
especially ones that are flexible with their school system, their
Yes.
school
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And some are doing different sports, but they still want to stay involved in martial arts too.
Right.
So in dealing with all of that, we try to be as flexible and give them the opportunities to get their PE alternative grades and learn the art to even be good enough to compete on the national team,
Right.
or just learn the self-defense side of it, just to protect themselves in this town we live in. It's very unpredictable in what you might run into.
Absolutely, and it can be anywhere.
It could be anywhere.
When I first came in '76 to this town, it was usually south, southeast, southwest,
Yeah.
south central.
It's everywhere.
But now it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And I tell people, or especially my family, no matter where you go, you got to be familiar with what's around you. You can't be like, I'm going to the store to buy a shirt or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and you get out of your car and you're beeline to the store because that's all
Yeah.
you're thinking. You got to look around, see what's going on, and avoid certain situations and be aware. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people. They're not aware
Well,
of what's going on or
What they
whatever.
don't realize is that there's a lot of pockets in this city because of the low income housing and the different housing that they put in just so that everybody has an opportunity to live in certain areas.
Right.
But what happened is those different pockets end up with that people that you just don't know, what they want, what they need, and sometimes they have some issues.
Right.
And so that could be any place in town. There's no real specific area.
Yeah, then you can say I can do anything I
Yeah.
want here because it's cool. Yeah,
Unless you're
exactly.
in a gated community in a place where,
Right.
And-
but I busted gated communities too with
Yeah.
5 and 6 marijuana grow operations
Right.
too.
Yeah,
Right.
So
gated
they have it
community.
there too.
It's keeping. It doesn't mean they're keeping the bad guys out because
Right.
all they do is wait till the gate opens and they go in. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's false. That gated community is a false sense of security. You still got to be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, you do.
Now,
Absolutely.
you told me something the day you bought the car, and I thought that was pretty interesting. That when kids promote from your dojos, that you're the one that actually gives them the final nod that yes, you're past this particular belt.
Yes.
And tell that. You remember the story you told me about you fail the kid, and then you said, why? Anyhow, tell the story. That's the story.
Now, are you talking about the one I failed in like 6 months in a row?
Oh, I know. Well, you can talk about that one too, but I'm talking about when you told your instructor, why would you bring that kid in front of me?
Yeah. Well, because we have all of our dojos. Matter of fact, we're opening up another satellite in San Jose under one of my top female athletes who was an Olympic hopeful. She rated top 8 in the world. But what ends up happening is all my different dojos, all these students, all these instructors, all were my young beginning level students who have all graduated up to the black belt level, instructor level. And so it's like any other place that has franchises. If you look at different ideas, different management oversight, sometimes they'll water things down. So I said, this is the one thing that I won't let happen to my organization or my program, so that wherever you go to in our organization circle, you're going to be the same. And so when they come and they test, and if they fail or they're not doing things up to the level that I'm going to pass, you got to remember I was on the tech committee for the U.S. Olympic program. So if I'm going to be the president of the national,
Right.
for
you can't be sliding people through.
I can't be sliding them through because the ranking won't mean anything.
Right, exactly.
There's some places that give ranks for a good smile, a nice haircut, and you've been here for 2 weeks, and so you get a rank. It's not that way.
Is that like a participation award?
Yeah, it's not that way. After 6 months of continuous training, they qualify for a test, but it doesn't mean they pass.
Right.
And so when the one student was making, some real severe mistakes, I asked him, "Who's your sensei?" And they point at the student next to me, who's one of my instructors, and I said, "Why would you let him come and test in front of me if he's not ready? Because I'm going to fail him."
Right.
And so he said, "Sensei, I told him not to come, but he came in." I says, "Well, I took the parents aside and says, they have an opportunity to retest again next month, because every month is somebody's 6 months. Because we have that many students that if we did them all at the same time, we won't have a building big enough. So every 6 months we have a group of between 25 and 40 that test. And so if they fail, I said, you guys got 4 weeks to prepare and retest again next month. And if not, the next month. So there's one student I had, he failed 6 months in a row.
Wow.
I failed. I said, I'm not gonna give you ranking if you don't know the requirements. That's just how it is. And so he finally passed after 6 months. And to this day, now he's married and he's got a business in Texas. And he told me, he says, one of the most important things that happened to me was you failed me 6 times. And I didn't realize how important that was to me until I realized when I was getting my certifications for these automotive, because he has his own business in Texas, and knowing that I need to learn if I'm going to get. And it's not going to just go, it's going
somebody's going to hand you something.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
And so that's how he says that's how I have a successful business, because I would study and prepare, because you failed me 6 months in a row. He goes, I wasn't going to let my certifications for my business, fail, and then I would be able to open a business and take care of my family. So he says that lesson that I gave him was probably one of the most important ones. So that's one of those life skill lessons.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes failing them, I tell them it's a good thing. I says, because it makes you understand that you have an opportunity to prepare and to do it right the next time.
Right.
But if I just let you go because you have a nice haircut, I said, what'd that do?
Right.
That just you just now you've watered the program down, and your ranking isn't as good as it's supposed to be.
Right.
So that's a big piece, is making sure that it stays quality.
And I got to ask you this, because it just came into my head. Do people come up to you and say, "Hey, you know what? Here's $2,000, $5,000, whatever it is. Can you get my kid a black belt?" I mean, I know you wouldn't, because
we know
of
that
how you
happens
are,
in college, but does it happen?
that gets my kid in college, right?
A few years back, I had a guy come in and goes, "Hey, how much would it cost to get a black belt here?" I said, "Well, first you got to pass a test, and it's going to take you at least between 5 to 7 years of training. You don't just walk in here and just get a belt from me."
Yeah.
I said, "You want a belt that bad? Just buy one."
Yeah.
I said, "You can go online and buy one.
Right.
If that's all you want." I said, "But you want a certification? You're not going to get that here." But I've had people tell me, "Well, how much would it cost?" I said, "It's the wrong place."
Right. Yeah.
I says, "Why would I put my stamp of excellence and my certification on you, and you can't even know how to do a high block or punch?"
Right.
Yeah. I says, "Where's that come from?" You know what that does to my business?
Yeah.
When someone sees you,
Yeah,
and
they
you
go,
don't
"Well,
know
this guy's in it for the money. He's not really after
exactly.
the kids." Yeah.
See, with all of the instructors that I have, and sometimes we have to shuffle instructors. they only can look at the students' ranking and know what they know. Because if they see a orange belt or a blue belt, or they know what that requirement is to get
Right.
that belt.
Right.
So I can have any instructor walk in and say, okay, you're a green belt, so I know what you know.
Right.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be wearing that because Sensei would not have passed you.
Right.
Right.
So they know what curriculum that they can actually have for that particular class
Right.
based on the ranking of those students, because they
I'll be
know automatically, even if they stepped in front of them for the very first time,
Right.
they know because the ranking quality is identical for
Around,
that
yeah.
certification piece.
That's great.
And so it
And
works
you always
well.
wonder why wouldn't the school districts kind of follow that kind of, because they always say, you always hear the stories, hey, you're never going to succeed unless you fail.
Right.
I mean, it's what you learn through your failures that
Absolutely.
open the opportunities for
What
you to
makes you better.
succeed. You know what I
Makes you
mean?
better, yeah.
And so sometimes, moving the kids on, and saying, well, we're going to let you move on to, I just don't know. I don't know if that there's no other option but that kid learning that lesson,
Yes.
I mean,
It
is going to
impacts
make him a success in
Impact
life.
his whole family. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he bringing up his kids the same way. you
That's
know?
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. And I think that's getting off our subject quite a bit, but that's what that we need in the world, especially the United States, is we have so many kids, so many people. I'll take off the kids. So many people that feel they're entitled for whatever their reasons are,
Absolutely.
and that's why we're in the predicaments that we're in now. And you have to go out and earn what you get. I don't want to. I'm switching gears a little bit, and I just want to get this thought out that in sports, there's winning and losing.
Right.
But I had a guy tell me that played Major League Baseball, fairly good friend of mine, played for the Giants and Philly organization. And he says, winning or learning, it's not losing. He said, and he told my grandson that and some of the kids that were around several years ago in Arizona, he told them, a loss is not something to be ashamed of. It's something to learn from.
Exactly.
And then you're not going to win every game. And just like in your area, you're probably not going to win every tournament you're in or whatever, but you find out your shortcomings, and that's what you got to improve on. And that's similar to us. In our business, we don't sell every customer that walks through our doors.
Right.
And yeah, it's discouraging. I mean, to the salesman, they put in, the effort or whatever. But if they want to listen, some of us older guys have been around. If they want help, they know they can come to me or Roy or anybody else in the dealership and ask them, hey, where do you think I went wrong in this deal? Or I think what happens in our business is we're afraid to ask enough questions because, to me, I wanted to know up front.
Right.
Somebody to tell me no,
Right.
because that's what I had to overcome. And a lot of people that teach sales classes and that type of thing is, always ask a question they can answer yes to. Well, yeah, that might work, but you also want to know why they're not ready to do something that day or 2 days from then or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
And they will tell you
Right.
if you take the time to listen to them. And getting back into the car side of it, what sold you on the vehicle is the drive. And so many times, and not just in our dealership, but other dealerships, they're so worried about getting you signed on the line to get you into the thing, get you on, that they miss steps.
Yes.
And when I started many moons ago, that was the big thing, was the test drive.
Yeah.
And we forget those small things because we're around that technology every day, the
Right.
OnStars
Right.
and this and the screens and this and that. And it's all
Right.
normal. Well,
Absolutely.
you came out of an 07
Yeah.
into a 2019.
It was like,
Yeah.
whoa.
yeah, I mean, that's like,
culture shock.
it's like
He
the
goes
first
Star
guy-
Wars.
Yeah, the first guy who stepped on the moon. You know what I mean? It's like the technology has gone absolutely unbelievable to the good.
Yeah.
And again, I've been with the same insurance guy since '96, so however many years that is. And I tell him, how come my premiums go up every year? I haven't had an accident. I haven't done nothing. Why? And it's cheap. The car pretty much drives by itself.
Yeah.
You know what he told me?
Yeah.
It's the technology. If
Yeah.
you get in a wreck, how much it costs to fix things on the
yeah.
thing. So and that made sense to me. I mean, all I have is common sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't have that, but I try to have it. But and getting back to it, it's taking care of the customer, taking time to listen. I think what happens is especially at a young age, you're trying to push forward. And, I got to sell this guy a car, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. But if you just sit back and listen to the customer, he'll tell you exactly how to sell him the car. You know,
He'll tell you what you want.
and here's another point. You can chime in anytime you want.
go
I
right
know
ahead.
you're over there
No, you're
sleeping,
rolling,
but you
you're
can wake up.
rolling,
I'm
you're
rolling.
rolling, I got you.
Plays a lot of help. Anyhow, so, but like I said, taking the time, and what happens is, you weren't, I'm saying you because you're sitting next to me, but you go to another dealership and they say X, Y, and Z that, oh, your trade I can get you 10 grand for, or whatever they tell you, and it's, you know, don't pay more than $400 a month, and this and that, and you're on a $60,000 car, but that's what you want to hear.
Yeah.
So then you come to me, and I got to be smart enough to know what happens is a lot of times in the car business, you're telling me what you've been told,
Yeah.
but they take it like, oh, what are you, crazy? You know what I mean? The salesman looks at you like you're crazy instead of saying, Gene, I believe that's what was told to you, but if you let's just look at the numbers here and go by what you're saying,
Right.
there's no way that can happen.
Right.
And you have to slow them down enough to go through it.
Right.
And I think that's one of our good points at our dealership, that we take the time. And like I said, do we miss deals? Yes, we do. We don't want it. We don't want to believe it, but we do. And take a look at what you're doing. And I struggled when I was a salesman. I'd have good months and bad months and good months and bad months. And when it would go bad, I was like, man, I'm on a roll. Everything I touch is gold, man. I'm like on fire, right? And then all of a sudden, I couldn't sell Eskimo ice, you know what I mean? I was just done. And I went back to basics, and I believe, and that probably same in your field. You go back and you greet the customer and you make them feel comfortable, because everybody walks across the curb, we're going to stick it to them, baby. That's the mentality.
Yeah.
In reality, that's not true, because at the end of the day, we want to sell a car and we want them
Right.
happy, right?
Right.
But what happens is you get out of whack and you start taking shortcuts, right? Probably the same thing, and the moves. Well, I can get here faster. I don't have to go all the way here. I can go here.
Yeah.
And so then you end up losing matches and you don't pass your belts and so on and so forth.
Right.
But go back
Shortcuts.
to the basics. And I tell some of the younger guys, you guys forget the basics. You get crapped out that you're not selling cars. So now we're going to, Gene, I don't know you from Adam, but you're going to do a credit app so I can see if you can even buy a car.
Right.
Well, how insulting is that? Number
Exactly,
one, to the
exactly.
customer. Number two, you don't know anything about Gene. If you're not excited about buying a car, you're just talking numbers.
Right.
You have to, like you got excited about driving that car, and your wife did too. People, you have to experience it, because the cars nowadays will pretty much sell themselves. You have to have some knowledge, absolutely.
Right.
And here's the other thing: don't tell somebody something that you don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen it over the years how many times that's bit you right in the rear end, right? So you got to. It's okay to say I don't know, but I'll
Yeah,
get an
I'll
answer
find
for
out
you.
for you. Yeah.
And that gives you more credibility than
Yeah.
just to slough it off and say, "Oh, no problem. It does. It's it's no problem."
Yeah.
Because how do you receive that as a customer? You know, is this guy, you know, is he looking out for my well-being or his? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And last thing, and I'm going to let Roy do some talking here. You can wake up out of your coma
Go right
anytime.
ahead.
A guy, Ed Miller, passed away, and he was probably my age when I started, and he told me, and it stuck with me. I think I told you this when you bought your car. You can shear a sheep every year. You only can skin it one time,
Yeah.
and that makes perfect sense. You can be a home run. You can rip this guy's throat out and make a ton of money,
Yep.
but you'll never see him again.
Yeah.
So, and Stockton's getting bigger, but back when I started in '83, it wasn't a Sacramento, it wasn't a San Francisco. So if you did that to too many people,
Yeah.
people are going to get out, man. You know, they may be happy when they left there, but then they find out their friend bought the same car for less over here or
Right,
whatever.
right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyhow, you got to do the right things. You're either in it for the short time, and you probably get kids coming through there or instructors or whatever. They're in for the short time. You either have a short time thinking or long time thinking. If you're in for the long haul, then do the right things.
Yeah.
It'll all come back to you.
Absolutely.
It's a round world.
You know, the thing that I enjoy most is when my students come back after going to university and getting their degrees, and they're gone for 4 years or 5 years, and they come back to start their training again, and they'll be out there for maybe a couple days, and it's like, I told them, I said, it's like riding a bike. I said, it's like you never even left.
Yeah.
And I says, I'm a good teacher.
It's all me, brother. It's all me. Yeah.
Because I so much repetition and so much over and over in the technical quality.
And
things,
that's
you
true
know.
in any sport.
Yes,
It's
it is.
repetition. It's muscle retention. It's whatever.
Muscle memory, neurological memory, all
And
that.
I'm going to give you a name, and we talked about him off the air at the dealership. Good friend of mine passed away, I don't know how many years ago. It's got to be 20 anyhow. Art the Oxen.
Yes.
Art was
The mongoose.
the mongoose.
The
Yeah.
mongoose.
Way
He's a
back in
good
the
man.
day, I did security work, right?
Uh-huh.
So we had the PR-24s, the one with the handle on
Yeah,
it.
side handle baton, yeah.
And this guy put me through it, man. And I was pretty good with it when I got done with him, but I busted a little finger, and he didn't care. He was one of those guys. And I worked with a guy for years. I mean, we worked in the security business together for years afterwards, after I took his class. And if you saw him, he looked like an old Hawaiian guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't want to mess with that man.
Yeah.
The man was lethal.
He was talented.
And I was younger, right? So when we go and arrest people, they'd always want to fight him, which was fine by me because I knew there it was and I'd just take my handcuffs out and hold him and go, "What are you doing?" I said, "After he beats you, I'm going to put these on you. So go ahead and have your shot." And then he would,
Yeah.
and they look at me and I go, "Yeah, you picked the karate instructor. I don't have karate. But you picked the wrong because of his age. You picked the wrong guy."
Yeah.
Anyhow, how
He's
about
a
a
good
Lloyd
man.
Wilson? Did you ever know Lloyd? Lloyd was another guy, but I don't know. He had a little martial arts background, but not like Art. Nothing like Art.
Roy Wilson, I don't know the name.
Yeah, he's probably long gone too.
Yeah. Art was he was a good quality man. He's a good martial artist. He actually, we got along so well, and he respected what I was doing that he even brought his son over to me. And
Yeah.
his son AJ
Yeah.
took from me for a while.
AJ's old now, brother.
Yeah.
But we're not.
Yeah, but he's a good sized man. He's been working out with the weights. He's
Yeah.
looking good. You know.
Yeah, you look good.
Nanette, his mom, is
Yeah.
she's a martial artist, had her own school too, and she's still a good friend.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, we go back a lot of years.
But see, that's what, even in your industry and ours, you cultivate good friends. I had somebody hit us on the Facebook, Roger and Sandy Lawrenson, he was a police officer here for, I can't tell you how many. He probably wrote more tickets than anybody in Stockton. But you liked the guy. You respected the guy. Then he went on to work for the sheriff's department. But they sent and they say, "You guys are the easiest dealership to work with." And they come in. They live up in, I want to say Valley Springs. They live up in the hills a little bit. And they're always in here. In fact, he uses our same barber, our friend Randy Zaragoza. At
Alpine Barbershop.
Carl, thank you. You woke up good, Skip Roy. I like that. Anyhow, but they're dear to us. And once you have a friendship with people, they just call you up. You know, you have to go through the process with them. It just doesn't happen overnight, but they see how you take care and how your heart is to them. And the full family buys from us. It's a great thing that Chase Chevrolet does for their customers. And I'm not saying that there's no other dealerships that do that. I don't want to get in that syndrome, but it is amazing how much, if you take care of the customer, that the customer will come back.
That's a fact. You know, I mean, it is like family. It's like even like Matt Constance. I know Matt for a lot of years too.
Yeah, relationships.
And you see him all the time. It's like an old friend.
Yeah.
Like now that I know you, I mean, we're Facebook.
Hey,
now
you
and
don't have to
everything
call.
else.
You don't have to call me old anymore.
That's okay. He's just being honest.
But
Thanks, Roy.
It's cool to walk into a place where, even some of the other service writers over there, I've had their kids too, and they come and tell me, says, "You know what, my son took from you," and that's kind of a cool thing because, like I said, we've had thousands and thousands of kids over the last 40 something years, but we've met so many great people through it,
And it's funny. I almost had his name. Smith was his last name, but I don't think he was in your school. I think Wayne Smith. He was a sensei, and
Wayne Smith.
but I don't know who he studied under. But he was very much like you, very quiet demeanor, You know, some of these kids get all jacked up that they can break people's faces and whatnot, and that's not the demeanor that a guy that really knows this stuff.
The old master says, the more you know, the more humble you become.
Right. And back in the days with Art the Auction, not to go back to him, we worked at Penny's together, J.C. Penney's, and we'd walk the mall, and he'd tell me, kid, you see that guy of the Filipinos with the rolled up newspapers?
Oh, yeah.
He said, don't mess with those guys. They'll stick that thing right through you like a straw going through a potato.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I demonstrated it to a young lady. Well, she wasn't young. She was a retired warden from one of the prisons, and she ended up becoming part of the Homeland Security.
Wow.
And we just finished a seminar with one of my friends who's from Japan, and we were demonstrating, stuff. And so she was listening to us while we were at a restaurant before going to the airport in Sacramento, and we were talking about different things on style and technique. And she kind of looked at us and says, "You guys in martial arts?" I says, "Yeah." She goes, "I got a question for you. What would you have done if you were on the 9/11, on the airplane?" And I says, "Well, you know what? For martial artists, we have weapons, not only in our hands, but this seat that you sit on, that flotation device." I says, "You get a couple people with those locking arms and rush the guy and push them against the wall, and you take them down." I said, "That's what they do in DVI and all these CERT officers. They use shields and they body press them and they take them down." So I said, we would have used the seats, and shielded them. Also, the magazines that you guys provide, those Sky magazines, they're pretty thick. And I rolled up, one of the pamphlets that I had, and I said, what you can do at the end of this thing, and pressure points, and I says, you could take someone's life. And the pin, oh my gosh.
That was funny when they went through all that stuff, and they wouldn't let you take a lot of stuff on an aircraft, but they had a pen. I said, this could kill you right now.
Right.
Now. I mean, one shot and you're done. But you can't guard against all that stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing. I flew out right after 9/11 to Boston, right into Logan, where all the aircraft came out of. And, of course, my wife was scared to death. But it was funny. So they have the military there in the airport with AK-47s. I'm going, who are they looking for? I mean, they're not going to have a turban, and I don't mean that. I don't want to get involved there. They're not going to look. It could be some little old lady. It could be a kid. You have no idea. So what do you? I know it looks good that we're there and we're gonna, but what are you looking for?
They're all reactionary.
Right.
It's always after the fact because they can't. You don't know who's going to be.
I want you to talk about your upcoming event. I saw on Facebook that you have an upcoming event. Go ahead and talk about that.
Well, this weekend we're having our Olympic Day Karate Championships. It's Olympic Day celebration. We're tied with the Olympic Committee, and what they've done is they've created an Olympic Day celebration for all of the Olympic sports throughout the world.
Wow.
And so they reached out to me because we did this again back in 2015. And so because karate is in the Olympics in 2020 in Tokyo, they asked if I'd be interested in wanting to do it again. So I said, yeah, we'll represent karate. And so I got a call, matter of fact, from Councilwoman Christina Fugazi, and she told me, she goes,
that's a good friend of Roy.
She's a wonderful lady. She's a wonderful lady.
Yeah, for community.
And she's helped so much with our Yosemite Street Village that we do all of our cleanup over there. She says, Gene, we got your proclamation. We're going to do a proclamation with the city is going to do that at your event. And
nice.
Councilman Paul Canepa is going to be there to present it.
We go way back with the Canepas.
Oh yeah, I says, Paul's one of my old students.
There you go.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's one of my.
You actually got him a black belt?
Well, he didn't get a black belt until 2015 when I gave him an honorary black belt.
Okay.
He got his orange belt.
I have a black belt too, but it's not. It just holds my pants up. It has nothing to do with that.
Paul's a wonderful man. I mean, he trained so hard because he was getting ready to get married.
Ah.
So while he was training to get married and everything, he got all fit and trim, ready for marriage, and then he got into his life and everything. But he was at the presentation, and he gave us the proclamation from the city.
Very nice.
And I gave him the honorary black belt. I said, "You're the first orange belt that I've ever go from orange belt to black belt."
Yeah.
You're the
Next
first
time
ever.
I see him, I'm
with an
gonna
honorary.
know
So
about
where's
that.
this going to be at again? Tell people.
It's going to be at Lincoln High School in the main gym, and that's going to be Sunday.
This coming Sunday.
Yeah, this coming Sunday. It starts from 9:30 on until we're finished, And we usually have between 100, 150 athletes that come and compete.
Wow, that's
And
fantastic.
so we're more excited because a lot of these kids are brand new first timers.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we start off a grand march to the Olympic bugle, that dun, 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 that kind of thing, and they're all walking out with American flags.
Very nice.
So we put them all out there, and they're all walking out with American flags. You probably saw it on Facebook. They're all holding.
Yeah, right.
the flag. So they all march. I've had a lot of parents tell me, you know what? After that march in, I'm done. I got my money's worth. I'm happy. You know, this is, you don't see this kind of thing.
No, absolutely not. We got every other thing going on in this
Yes.
world, and there's something to protect our country that's provided for all of us.
And the kids feel proud when they're out there
Sure.
marching with the flag, and
Right.
and they're hearing that Olympic music, and it gives them a purpose for the day to be their best.
Right.
Yes.
You know, I always tell them, I says, someplace in this whole country, there's a little town where the future Olympians are being developed, and if we can help, get that attitude and that idea to think that way, then we give them a chance to at least get in the right direction for
Yeah,
competition.
Is there any cost to go to the event?
Yeah, there's
A small-
yeah,
little cost.
there's a this is this is our nonprofit organization,
Right.
USA NKF of Northern
Yeah.
California. It's a nonprofit 501c3. So the money goes for the athlete development for our kids that are going to do
Okay.
future competitions.
Yeah.
But it's $8 at the door for spectators, and there's a competition fee for those that want to compete.
Oh, I see.
But
Anybody can go out and watch.
absolutely,
Buy a ticket.
Absolutely.
Very
they'll,
nice.
They'll get a kick out of it too, watching the little kids out
Now,
there.
I'm going to invite you to something I'm going to have Roy talk about, then we got to wrap this up. I'm getting a wrap up over here by Dustin. Something that's going to happen at that same venue, but out on the football field coming up on the 15th. Could you tell people? We'd like to have Gene, if you're off on the 15th,
Yeah,
we'd
come
love to
on.
have you there because it's a special event. Go ahead, Roy.
June 15th.
On
Yeah,
June,
it's the
on
following
June
Saturday.
15th, we have a special event. We've been promoting it for quite some time now, and it's the Lions All-Star Football. It's actually the 46th Lions All-Star Football game, which is returning to Stockton. The game has always been played at UOP from 1974, the original game in 1974 until 2011. And in 2012, the UOP facility was not available because they demolished the football field, so they moved the game down south. So for the last 7 years, the game has been in the southern counties. Well, this year's game is coming back, and it's coming back to A.G. Spanos Stadium at Lincoln High School. It's the perfect venue for an outstanding showcase of our talented youth. It's all high school seniors that are playing in this all-star football game. And we're inviting you to come out. General admission is $10. June 15th, the gates open at 5:30. At 6 p.m., pregame festivities start, and at 7 p.m. we have our kickoff. We have a great event planned. It's going to be exciting, entertaining. The game is always absolutely amazing. It's going to be a great night for Stockton. So anyway, I just want to invite Gene to come out, if you can come out, and all the community to come out and support this game. We want to pack the house at Lincoln High School. I'd like to see 4,000 people there.
Wow,
So
that'd be
come on
outstanding.
out and let's celebrate this homecoming 2019 at A.G. Spanos Stadium at Lincoln High School.
And all the gruff we've been giving you for the last 6 months, you've done an outstanding job. I tip my hat to you. You put in a hell of an effort. And
And I look like it too, don't I?
yeah, you look a little
worn
for
out,
our
That's
next
okay.
show, folks. We got to get Dustin's
next
giving us
show.
the next show would be scheduled on the 4th, but obviously we're not going to do a show on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Our next show will be the 18th of July. The Chase Car guys, please tune in. If you have any suggestions, get a hold of Roy or I through messaging on Facebook or call Chase Chevrolet and ask for either one of us. I'm usually there, and he's out doing this community thing. But anyhow, I'd like to thank you, Gene, for showing up tonight and donating some of your time back. And we appreciate you as a customer and a friend. Roy, you got any last things?
Well, everybody come out and watch your performance. It's this Sunday, right?
This Sunday,
We're
This
gonna
Sunday.
see
Lincoln
some
High School, yeah.
at
What
Lincoln High
time? One
School.
more
It
time.
starts at 10 o'clock a.m.
10 o'clock a.m.
That'll
It
be,
should be.
that'll be the grand march for the kids.
It'll be something. Go
Something
USA.
very special. Yes.
USA, baby.
There
That's
you
what
go.
it's all
USA,
about.
USA.
All right, everybody. Until next time, have a great evening. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the 18th of July.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good
for having me.
night.